I was thinking of starting like a rotating hot seat where we throw like we invite a wallet to speak about any subject they want, and then we just go through all the wallets in the Discord every month until we get back to the beginning. I don't know if anybody would be interested in something like that, but it's something I've been toying with.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Yeah, maybe we set that up. Great. So I guess let's get started. Thanks everybody for coming out to May's All Wallet Devs call. We have one formal item on the agenda, and that is a presentation on 747 by Victor. And with that, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, you sound good.
Yes. So hi everyone, my name is Victor. Many of you are many familiar faces. I'm I'm one of the EIP editor working with Sam Wilson, and usually I'm more active on the ERC side. Hey, Van Dan, it's good to meet you. And today I think it's a combined conversation. I think it's more fit for the wallet audience. So I want to be here to present our implementation of EIP 747, which is the interface for wallet underscore watch asset. And we think this is a very good and interesting standard. And currently MetaMask is what we can interact through the app. And we want to know if other wallet app have implemented them so that we can also enable and but also for every wallet that haven't yet, we like to show what it means to have EIP 747 from a D app side, and then maybe advocate for you to consider implementing them on the wallet side. And in addition to that, we also have some thoughts on how it could be improved. So with that, let me shift over to a demo, and I want to give credit to my teammate Sami Michel. He's also here, and he's the main developer for this particular feature, and then also many of the major developer of our app. The NameFi tokenized internet domains into NFTs. So we have our NFT defined. We also have our ERC20 of NFSC. It's like a Starbucks credit where you can buy things on NameFi with this ERC20. By default, of course, this is new assets. It doesn't show up on wallets that has a allow listed approach. So sometimes our user have challenged seeing our assets on their wallets. So we consulted with people, and then Dan Finley, who's a good friend, point us to this option. Then we implement this here. So can you see my screen? I'm about to play a video recording by Sami.
Yep.
Okay. So on the high level in our application, there's a credit, and then there's this line that show assets on your wallet. Once you click on it, you will be able to trigger this interface of wallet watch asset, as you can see. And MetaMask will pop up, and these NFTs will be suggested to add to it. And also, by the way, we also add the ERC20, which is a NameFi service credit. Now, with that, once that is done, if you go to MetaMask, you can see our NFT. Of course, this is a very short demo. What we felt is that this is a great way to allow user to choose which assets they trust, right? Especially these days, there's a lot of fake assets, fraud assets, scammy assets. So increasingly, we're seeing wallets having a allow listed approach, or NFT market have an allow listed approach, where only a list of trusted tokens, NFTs and ERC20s are shown to user, and then others are ignored. That's great. I think that's an important step towards building a more trustworthy environment for a blockchain user experience. But it also creates a potential risk of centralization or walled garden phenomenon where your wallet vendor will be the guardian, will be the one who determines which token you should trust, right? So many of the wallet, in addition to this allow listed approach, also enables user to pick tokens they want to add to the display list on their wallets. So watch asset is a standard to allow this to be triggered by the app. So if you have not seen this, I want to like bring the attention to the audience about EIP 747, and I'll share the link to the group. If you have not, I'd like you to see it and to consider if it makes sense for your wallet to include them. From what Sammy says, this seems very obvious that this is a useful feature for the app and wallet. So we urge everyone who is interested to look into this and consider whether you can implement them or you want to implement that in the EIP. It's final. It's done by. It's proposed by Dan Finley and Esteban, and co-authored by Gavin, who is an editor. And I think through our experience implementing it, it's quite smooth. Therefore, I think it's a good standard. In addition to that, our suggestion, of course, is that if wallet can also consider pulling the metadata in the middle. Meanwhile, it would be a good improvement to EIP 747. In addition to that, in our case, like our whole NFT is issued by us, right? If you trust one of the NFT, it's more likely that you will also trust other NFTs. So the approach in the EIP 747 is you have to approve per token ID of NFT, which we think is a little bit over. It would be nice if if there's a way to approve all tokens inside of one NFT contracts. So these are, if possible, some suggestions to improve them. But yeah, I think Van Dan says very well. Also, the detection of malicious assets, but there would be false positive. There will be limitations. There will be potential risk of centralization. So yeah, I'll open up the floor for any questions, comments. Look forward to collaborate. We want more DApp to implement this. We want more wallet to implement this. I hope that answers Alex's question about the recommendation. Two recommendations. One is pull the metadata of NFT so it shows the right name and the right profile picture of that NFT. On the other hand, is that we hope that NFT can be added as the entire collection rather than individual tokens.
Yeah. So on that first one, the metadata, I think we definitely can do a better job of this. Unfortunately, there's not robust metadata standards, especially for ERC 1155 tokens, and so it's not always there's not a standard place where you can go and get that. Often it's the name is in some JSON blob and you go get that, and then the everything beyond that is not standardized. And I believe there have been some efforts somewhere in the ecosystem to create more robust standards, because otherwise it's very difficult to pull in the metadata. Obviously you can do it on a with lots of branching logic for different standards. And then on the second recommendation, we could accept an array of token IDs, which I think would be preferable to just going across every, like, you don't know what the token ID standard is as well, so you wouldn't actually even be able to sort of loop through any just arbitrary sets of numbers and be able to sort of like know which ones you should be attempting to add, right? So I think the solution there would probably make more sense would be to accept an array of token IDs in that second one. Yeah.
That still makes sense. I see that. Thank you very much, Eric. Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, I saw the comments by Shane on the chat, basically going with an MIP, like a different approach, maybe Like you can explain the considerations or what's behind the scenes of that decision. That would be interesting.
Yeah, well, so the MIP is just So okay, so the I think basically at some point 747 was pretty stale, and I, I can't honestly remember the full sort of decision like process that we made, but we kind of were like, okay, rather than dealing with the EIP that not doesn't seem like a lot of people are implementing, it will be much more streamlined if we do this in house. And all that MIP does is just add support for 720 or 721 and 1155, which were not previously codified in the EIP. I think we probably should go back and do that. But part of the problem was someone had gone in the intervening time and added a few pieces that we were not so fond of. One of which, as Vanden is highlighting in the chat, is chain ID, which we like identifying on which chain this asset is lives, and theoretically, hypothetically, that sounds great, right? But we are pursuing sort of like a more generic approach to enveloping requests, so that like any and all requests contain chain ID information rather than putting them on the method itself. So that was one thing we didn't like, and then there was some other standard of token. I haven't pulled it up just right now, but that they were trying to codify as well that we weren't really familiar with and saw no evidence that was like a really widely used token standard. And so it kind of got away from us. I think that was part of it as well. So those are the reasons that we basically decided, okay, we're just, we see a lot of value in adding support for 721 and 1155, but the whole ordeal of having to sort of navigate the EIP process where there's already these sort of divergent proposals that we don't really believe are actually valuable or good. That was the basis for that decision. So ideally, obviously, this would be all live in the EIP, and we would all, but yeah, that's kind of how I thought about it.
Sure. I like to respond quickly to was it Alex or Eric? I think it was Alex who just speak up and about explaining the decision that MetaMask is moving on to use MIP1. Totally understandable. As an EIP editor, I'm author turned editor, and Sam, since we are both in the room, it's a good time for us to reflect how we can make author easier and more trustworthy, build the trust for authors to use the EIP process. What I would like to comment on this is that wearing a hat of a founder rather than as an EIP editor, like my day job is Name 5 founder, we like to support a standard that wallet app will be happy to adopt, right? Like if, of course, MetaMask is very well respected, a huge market share, so it has its influence in the space. But we also want to see other wallets adopting it. So if it's an ERC, there's some expectation where discussion will be presented to the community. There will be input placed for input. There will be a neutral discussion and for what's going to be in the design or not, right? But when MetaMask make the decision on its own, or when OpenSea make the decision on its own, I don't know what other wallet will feel like. Do they have a voice in MetaMask MIP process? If MetaMask disagree with that suggestion, does other third-party wallets feel that they'll be heard? So ideally, if all these can be done through MetaMask MIP or any reputable standardizing body, then we can see much lower friction for wallets to adopt them, and also it would be a network effect for the apps like NameFi to adopt them. But when it wasn't the case, it becomes much less value for the app to adopt the MetaMask individual approach, because we know that it's no different than having a Web2 SDK, right? You say, hey, here's what we publish as our SDK, and then you just go integrate with us and only us. So I just want to like put out our thoughts as a DApp builder and urge the community to have a way to come to consensus. Like we're totally fine whichever you want to put way you want to put the chain ID, as long as everyone is doing the same. We can succeed as a whole industry. It wouldn't happen without ERC20. It wouldn't happen without a standard of everyone goes with ERC 721. And we hope that it will happen to the wallet as well. And as an author turned EIP editor, I've suffered the challenge of editing things as well. So I can totally feel that we need to improve our process. And I, as an editor, want to work with you if there's a way to bring the upgraded version of MIP1 back to the EIP process. If everyone that, or I'm all totally supportive of going with like chain agnostic or other standardizing body.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we'd be happy to work for sure. We're obviously we support all of the ideals that you just laid out, and certainly want to work with the standards bodies and ideally have everything be truly like ecosystem standardized. And so why don't we kind of sidebar that, take this off this call, and we can maybe try to work together to sort of at least submit some of our thinking and how we would like the 747 to get back on track in our view, back towards what we think is like the appropriate implementation or standard rather, and we can Victor, I don't know if there's like a great okay, I see you're connecting your calendar. Okay, sweet. I'll set something up.
If I can follow up with just another question, is there somewhere a list of dApps that support either or the standards, either one of the standards? Is that something that's being tracked? Like, do you know how much ecosystem support it has in different dApps, things like that?
We have some internal metrics, but we don't identify the dApps at the moment. And obviously it's all opt-in metrics. And so, no, but I think what's an even more interesting question to me is also like which other wallets support it, if any. Obviously, like if no other wallet supported, it's very easy to change the standard. And I haven't actually personally come across any other wallets supporting it or using this. So that was kind of the point of Victor's talk. But yeah. But there are a fair number of dApps that use it.
Do we know which like framework supported, like Ethers, Web3, VM?
I've definitely seen it in VM. Yeah, VM has like a watch asset like sort of baked into it. I don't know if I've seen it on the other ones. I don't know that any other ones have adopted it. And then I don't know kind of how broad the wallet support is for that particular method. But we definitely encourage other wallet developers to consider that.
Yeah, I definitely think this is something that's been floating in something that MetaMask did a while ago, and then obviously there's just kind of like general ecosystem momentum around more like auto detection and stuff, but like obviously this is like something we want to be a bigger part of how people for all the reasons Victor outlined. but following up in terms of getting support through the libraries and SDKs and stuff, I think, yeah, it's something we should return back to.
Yeah, I want to resurface a suggestion I made with Samuelson. I really love what Sam has driven the test suite of wallets, and I want to point you to this somewhat relevant thing where in Mozilla they publish the support of certain language features across different browsers. Wouldn't it be nice that we have a table, a big sheet of like whichever wallet have passed certain have implemented certain features of standards through wallet test suites, and then that would be a way for people to track what features has been adopted, what standard has been adopted. A great use of test suite, but also it's a competition for a free market of wallets app to kind of rush to support more standards, and that's a way to call for standardization and adoptions.
I think it's a reasonable suggestion, but the question is who decides which standards are part of that framework, right? That's like where sort of the power lies in that situation is who decided 747 needs to be on that webpage and not MIP1 needs to be on that page, right? Like that's a decision that needs to be made.
Yeah, that's a huge hugely important issue, and I'm trying to kind of create or ERC devs as a way and bring people who have smart contract design for smart contract standards. And I know that Sam has been proposing a working group approach. So there will be governance issues, governance structure setting up. Sam, do you want to respond?
As far as the working group goes, it's kind of just stalled on me being distracted by a million other things. But on the wallet test framework side, we can easily write a test, or EIP authors can write tests for their EIPs, and then we can just use that as the litmus test for whether or not we should put it in the table. Has somebody bothered to write a test for it or not?
To begin with, yeah. To begin with, it could be like whoever has the capability and interest and strong enough motivation to write a test. But down the road, should this become more and more important and has been a guiding North Stars for many other web apps, then there needs to be a way to figure out the proper governance and people can agree and can debate and can form a consensus of which show up in the table.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I guess it's very likely that people on this call are gonna be on that committee or work group that I think. Other than that, I have nothing else to say. Giving back to the host, Sam.
Yeah, that was the only formal thing to talk about today. We can keep chatting if you guys want. We can end it here. Yeah, if anybody has, I guess we can talk a little bit about 7702. I should probably mention that. So EIP 7702, if you aren't aware, is a kind of a successor to EIP 3074. The major difference is that 7702 has a transaction type that temporarily deploys code at the account of an EOA, where 3074 would only execute code in the context of an EOA. This 7702's new structure kind of gives it a lot more flexibility and makes it more compatible with 4337, which is really important for a lot of smart contract wallets. And in fact, you can use a lot of the same infrastructure. And this came out, just before the 3074 breakout call, so not a lot of people have time to think about it or have seen it yet. So I just wanted to raise it here. If you care about 3074 or executing code for EOAs, please take a look at 7702 and reach out to me with any concerns you might have. That's about it on that. Great. So yeah, take a look. we can chat now if you guys want. I'll hang out for a few minutes. If not, give you back half an hour, and we'll see you in a month.
Thanks, Ed.
Cool. Thank you.